Welcome to this episode of Wiki Walks, a short podcast devoted to some of the more intriguing and, who knew, articles that you can run across in the weird world of Wikipedia. I'm your host, Chris Grismer. If you thought this recent Eagles season was the worst disaster to befall Pennsylvania, well, then your theory just went up in smoke, oddly enough. In this episode, we'll explore the unexpected history behind a modern-day ghost town, Centralia, Pennsylvania. To understand how Centralia came to be abandoned, we need to go back to Pennsylvania's history as a coal mining powerhouse. In the late 1800s, the state was the nation's leading producer of anthracite coal. This helped fuel America's Industrial Revolution, with major coal operations centered in eastern and central Pennsylvania. It was also the first state to really hit pay dirt with oil. Ever wonder why it's called Pennzoil or Quaker State? It's PA, dog. Our story begins in 1962 in that small mining town of Centralia. After years of issues with illegal garbage dumping, the town council decided to clean up the local landfill by, setting it on fire, much like the Eagles season. This was a common practice at the time, but unbeknownst to them, a hole at the bottom of the pit provided direct access to the sprawling network of abandoned coal mines underlying Centralia. Soon after the fire department doused the landfill blaze, residents began noticing wisps of smoke rising from the ground around the town. It became clear that the fire had spread to the vast mines below. Despite efforts by the town and mining companies to quell the flames, they continued to spread through the vast underground tunnels, fueled by rich coal seams. At first, life went on as usual above ground in Centralia, but some residents even enjoyed the free heat during the winter. However, over the next 2 decades, the effects of the fire became much more pronounced. Plumes of smoke wafted up through cracks in the earth in the streets and sidewalks and playgrounds, and the ground actually became hot enough in places to cause third-degree burns. In 1981, a 12-year-old boy suddenly escaped falling into a sudden 150-foot deep sinkhole of smoldering earth. This was a wake-up call to the danger posed by the still-burning fire. By 1983, the state of Pennsylvania had spent millions trying to unsuccessfully extinguish the blaze. With no end in sight, the government allocated funds to relocate the town and demolish its buildings. Despite incentives to move, a determined few residents refused to give up their homes. Over the next decade, Centralia became bitterly divided over relocation as the fire continued burning beneath their feet. By 1993, eminent domain was invoked and the remaining residents were forced out. Mostly. Today, Centralia exists as a smoldering ghost town. There are less than 10 residents who remain as holdouts, clinging to what's left of their former community. Wisps of smoke still curl up from the cracked asphalt, and the charred earth remains warm to the touch decades later. Some serious Silent Hill nightmare fuel here. Also, the movie Silent Hill is based on this town. The abandoned Route 61 that runs through town was repurposed for years as a graffiti highway for the scant few visitors who trek through the ruins. But the area remains hazardous due to deadly gases that can pool in underground pockets, basically like you when you leave a Chipotle. While the fire is estimated to burn for at least another 250 years, the town of Centralia has practically all but vanished as the subterranean dragon continues to rage on below. The story of Centralia illustrates how even small disasters can spiral out of control to permanently alter a community. So, the next time you think about lighting one up, just remember, it may not go out for the next 300 years.